Hi Virgo, welcome to my channel. Virgo, as I mentioned in the Solar Eclipse Initiation video and podcast, on 10th of June at 6:52 a.m. Eastern Time, Sun and Moon will come together as a solar eclipse at 19°47' of Gemini, along with North Node to plant a new seed. We would have 6 planets physically parallel and anti-parallel in the sky with the karmic nodes, like the whole universe is conspiring to bring something to pass. In this moment of eclipse, after a period of reconsideration and confusion, we are meant to see things clearly. It may not yet be time to start anew or announce, or external messaging might still be delayed as the ruler of the eclipse would be retrograde till 22nd of June, but the initiation of the new thinking and a new mind begins. A new thought form is born, and for you that begins a new phase in your career, in your leadership style, and an external reputation is created. North Node is where we stumble, we get up, and yet we start again, cause it's our path of forward growth of lifetime, our karma of this lifetime. We must grow through and grow towards it. Every 19 years, we evolve a specific part of our life through leaps and bounds. This is the last 6 months of this karmic growth in the area of your life which has to do with business leadership, career, reputation, your title, or public recognition. And that's where we would be planting a new seed now. This mingles with the lunar eclipse theme of release of old beliefs holding you back. Any early conditioning, any personal ties and family issues which have been hemming you in, they are being released as well. This is a break from the familiar, from home, from cultural boundaries for you to make a mark in the external world. We detach from any desire for safety and go beyond our early or parental or family influence to make this leap in our career. Today we would not so much focus on just this one event, but more about the next 6 months. What are the next 6 months supposed to teach us? What kind of evolution our mind is going to undergo, where one kind of thought form or belief is being released and a new one which would serve us for the next 19 years is born. We never stop growing, but Gemini eclipses take our mind and knowledge for a leap in matter of days and months, which would normally take many years to come to pass. If you're old enough, this kind of growth you would have experienced back in 2002. Your axis of identity and security is being activated for a fated leap and shift over the course of next 6 months, as one adventure of our lifetime ends and another one begins. As I promised in the part 1 of this video or podcast, which is the overview of the solar eclipse, in this part 2, we would go deeper into all this specific to your sign as is relevant for the rest of the year, for the next 6 months for you. My name is Charu and I'm your host on this journey. So let's dig in. Virgo, we start with the solar eclipse. The 10th of June eclipse brings an opportunity of a new phase, a new start in your career, in your life path, in your career advancement, which is seeded now and grown over the course of next 6 months. It could be a change in career, change in your title, or a shift in organizational structure, or a new project and a critical shift in your life path, which is initiating right now. This was possibly first thought of or discussed back in January through a fated interaction and worked further on in early April. So it is something that you already know of. And now in June, some back and forth is happening in order to come to a conclusion of a modified format of this new start in your career, although with a delay, because there are few changes which still need to be processed, as the ruler of this new start and your ruler Mercury is retrograde till 22nd of June. You might still be putting some final touches or reconsiderations for the exact nature of this shift. But this infuses fresh impetus and energy into your work and your place in the business world. Sometimes even the personal title we hold shifts with this critical eclipse. This is a critical axis of home, family, and external career which is getting activated for you for a major shift over the course of next 6 months. Our dealings with the authority, our leadership style, the nature of our work will come and would already be under review. And some critical shifts are made to realize career plans. You focus on what gets you further in life with this once in 19 years transit of career growth and shifts, which initiated for you in May of 2020 when the nodes transitioned. And now we are in the last 6 months of that change. Your image, how you project yourselves to others, what are your goals of self-mastery and discipline, what are your public responsibilities. They come to focus, as well as you start this new chapter in your life with a new, renewed outlook towards what your role in the society, in the public responsibility is. It's an important life transit which last might have happened in 2002 for you. So if you're old enough to remember, it could be a new chapter which might have initiated in 2002. A similar new chapter might be initiating for you right now. Or if you want to look at a time closer to now, you might look at 2011 when we had the eclipses with opposite polarity, which means that it's possible that something ended at that time. There was a career choice maybe which came to fruition, which came to conclusion, and now a new choice is being made in place of what was chosen in 2011. The output is not what you originally planned and started with, and there might still be some confusion around it as you rework things out and sort out some confusing elements or even miscommunication, but the plans are made and a very critical seed is planted for your future growth. Your vision is practical, and as an earth sign, what you initiate needs to produce results in the now and not just in the future. It might feel to you that your reputation is at stake. Your title, your place, your standing in the world is in focus and at stake. More interactions with authorities, more responsibilities, as well as more recognition comes with it. There could be multiple choices on the table, or at least two, which would require use of your many skills, and you might be reviewing which direction to take, which choice to make. You are a skilled leader who leads with intellect and with skills linked to knowledge and information. As that kind of a thinker, a skilled leader and a thinker, you like to weigh all the options. And right now your mind would be in overdrive. It might also come to your attention that possibly a shift in leadership style or the way you handle your job is required for you to be able to expand and grow further. It could be delegation. You're normally happy to share authority, but getting involved still in every aspect of the work post delegation is something maybe which is not working for you. You are quick to adapt, so you would be in a learning mode for your career and a leadership style. Speaking, reading, writing, discussing your career choices and how to be a leader. Changes or organizational setups might be done at this time as you weigh your options out loud. It's the time when we connect with people, market or advertise our services. It's beneficial for you to do so. It's beneficial for you to put yourself out there. You crave for diversity, variety, and intellectual stimulation in your work, and that's what you seek out in this new phase of your life. Although all Virgo would benefit from this fresh energy infusion into your career house, but Virgo with rising sun or moon around 20 degree of Virgo, 3 degrees before and after, which is around 17 degree to 23 degree of Virgo, which if you're a Virgo sun, it would be around 11th of September born Virgo sun, 3 days before and after 11th of September, so around that date, they would feel this shift in new start, like a completely new chapter, like a complete change in career, complete change in job, very, very strongly. This is a critical axis and a critical change. It's a life transit. Let's briefly talk about Mercury retrograde, which is an integral part of this eclipse. There are some reconsiderations, as I mentioned, which are required as your career path comes into review for a shift. Till 22nd of June, you would be re-looking at the situation from different eyes. It's possible that those eyes are of somebody else as well, but you're gaining a different perspective versus what you had so far. Questions that usually pop up during this time include: how do we market? How do we self-promote? How do we market in the right way? And questions could be: wind is changing direction, the world is changing. Is what I'm creating right now, is that in line with that broader shift that is happening in the marketplace? Does the communication aspect of the job need to change? Should I move? Should I quit? Should I jump ship? Should I change jobs or careers? You would find yourself possibly even clarifying your vision or your positions to others, bringing them in and also taking their inputs, making business connections and thinking who you should leverage for your quest for perfection in your job, revamping your outer image. Mercury rules you, so the way you dress up, the way you look, the way you present yourself as a leader, the way you communicate, that would also be getting revamped in this time till 22nd of June. If there have been some miscommunications, which is highly possible, especially with authorities, bosses, even spouse, sometimes even a parent, you would be reworking or clarifying the same. Sometimes we rethink the strategy around approvals at this time, like an authority approved something before, but now something further is required. It's not yet time till 22nd of June to set things in stone, finalize the nature of the job or sign business contracts if possible after 22nd of June. We can mature ideas but not fully execute them. Like we don't go live with the business contracts, with new clients, with a new job if possible. If we have to do it before 22nd of June, we leave the room for changes essentially. It's a good time till 22nd of June to redo, to reorient, to resign if you need to, or redefine your path, to review, to research on the way forward, to connect with people and lay down the groundwork. It's sort of that after 22nd of June is the go live. It will be the phase of your new experimentation, and close to 47 days following that will be non-stop experimentation. Mercury retrograde in career is a rare opportunity. It normally happens on the heels of a big shift. Last time Mercury went retrograde in your house of career was back in May or June of 2015. Not everything is the same, but you could look back to 2015, May and June, because the lessons of the last time, especially if there was something unfinished, something was unresolved, or sometimes even the work project and colleagues of that time, they come to the present time. They come into our current consciousness because something is not finished, something is not resolved. There was no eclipse though at that time in your career house, which we do have now. So this is a much, much bigger leap or shift for you. The solar eclipse is not happening alone. It's happening with the lunar eclipse. The solar eclipse comes with a lunar eclipse. It comes with a closure. It comes with a release. It comes with making space for this new shift in your life. And sometimes that closure, that release, it happens through a crisis which needs our attention, which could even be a stimulus for this new start. The lunar eclipse that happened on 26th of May came with that closure, with that release, with that crisis, and it would continue to pan out till 19th of November and will work in parallel with this new start for you. The focus of that is on bringing a chapter in your home, family, place of living, or emotional life for closure or release. Though the full manifestation of the fated event linked to this closure in your personal life or shift in your personal life would not come up till early September. But you would have already, possibly through a push and pull, gotten to know what it is. But early September is when a fated event related to that closure and release would happen. It could be a move, a home change, property matter change, relocation, a foreign home, a change in family structure, a change in family dynamics. Your responsibility to your family and parents shift. Your role as a parent shifts. Property investments, change in fixed assets. Sometimes a sale of fixed asset or a closure or a release of fixed assets is needed. Some of these matters, they would have already come up for restructuring and release right now in coordination or possibly driven by or possibly acting as an impetus for your career shift. Sometimes one drives the other, and that is the impetus for the big shift in your career. Metaphorically, it's you leaving the nest in some ways, distancing yourself from what you previously thought was home and a safety net. The old belief system of how a family, home, and emotional life, or even parenthood, is supposed to look like is being released to make space for a new model. A new model in line with who you're becoming as an external identity. Ancestral home, ancestral values, history of your family, the borders of your family, the upbringing that has placed around you, stating that is all that's possible for you. You are crossing all of those lines. The values of your parents, the ancestral karma, in some ways is being released. The hold of them is being released. You're moving away from them and releasing them. Sometimes someone who's dependent on family. It sometimes happens that if we are still living with our family, we leave the nest. But here it looks like you're taking the next leap in your life, and it logically comes with it. Even though we might be away from the family, in some ways we would be asked to do something selfless for them, with the thought in mind that we would have no returns from it. The support for your new start and the new beginning, in some ways physically, will not come from your family. The connection that grounded you in the past, it somehow needs to be released. That cord needs to be cut as you need to fly higher. And those burdens are not part of your future anymore. And those models do not fit into who you're becoming now. This could be a model which possibly began in 2011. And now it's coming for a release or a dependency that you had in 2011. It might be getting released. As you stand by yourself in your quest for the ideal, something outside of yourself which used to support you is not going to support you anymore. It's not part of your future anymore. At the very least, you would not limit yourself due to the idea of security. And the relationship with family could become more distant or more spiritual versus one of involved nature where either you are drawing support from them or there's a physical contact with them. There's a distance that is normally placed. The full information on what needs to be let go and the karmic event around it, in my view, will only come to light in early September, when through a faded set of events things will come up. Though this would be felt by Virgos as a sign, but the early degree Virgos might already have gone through something around it, which is around 5 degree Virgo, which is 3 degrees before and after 5 degrees. So around 2 degree to 8 degree of Virgo might have already experienced an event which has happened just now, which is linked to that. August born Virgo sun would have already felt it strongly. And it would be felt a release of burden, a release of security, a release of moving away from safety net would be felt by all of you. And that is something that is the need of the hour. Now we'll transition into talking about do's and don'ts for the next 6 months. As the two eclipses intermingle and they color our next 6 months, we would also be living the last 6 months of karmic growth that North Node in Gemini is supposed to give us, and the last 6 months of release that South Node in Sagittarius is supposed to give us. In a way, these do's and don'ts are the road to success which we are laying down, keeping in mind that we will stumble many times on the road to success because this is something untried. You're trying something which you have not tried before. So be gentle with yourself. Let's start. It's the time to take some calculated risks in career. That's the first thing. Because sudden success is possible. Sudden shifts is possible. This is once in 19 years. And that is you need to have some blinders on. That is it. It's the time to take some risk in career. Try something cutting edge. Try something progressive. Try something different. Career or project choice must have variety, should be mentally stimulating. It's possible that you might be at the same time be involved in multiple careers or projects. It has to give you space to be informed, lively, conversational, and social. You need to hone in and leverage your networking skills. That is the road to success. Communication and networking are key to success for you, apart from a career which involves the mind and self-expression. Teaching, learning, reading, writing, educating, informing people, but actively move away from theory or model to practical and life circumstances instead of just relying on it being, it stops being an idea, it stops being a model, it starts becoming more live and practical. There will be time away from home or a detachment from family. There's more focus on the outer life and on social visibility. It's just that time of life. Even if time is spent with family, it would not be for your support, but rather you selflessly giving love and helping someone in need. There would be less time for your private life, or even for inner world, there will not be enough time. But instead of you depending on a person, you would be better placed to have a spiritual practice to support you, because you have to create an inner strength here, which is going to help you through the challenges and the changes you'll go through in trying the untried. This is a break from the familiar, a very sharp learning curve. Take it all in. You're not going to get this kind of leap for a very long time. Don't let desire for safety or security or even the past hold you back in this journey forward. The voice in the head of a parent or a spouse or any people who conditioned your mind in the past is not your voice. Parental teaching or family does not define the boundary of your growth. Your own inner critic, which is normally conditioned by our upbringing, it itself does not define you. Give a little bit of leeway to your own innate idealism. Things are going to look messy in the beginning. They are going to be messy in the middle as well. So don't try to get everything exactly as you thought it should be. You'll have to actively stop that inner critical dialogue for some time. It's possible that you would need to release your idealistic belief about family structure, possibly a blind faith or previous belief about our roots or traditional values, because those traditional values and your previous belief will not stack up to what you want to create for the future. In that, the family dynamics, they would greatly change, because your own belief about what a family is supposed to look like, what kind of values a family is supposed to have, that itself is shifting. Don't try to hold on to something fixed, like a property or a fixed asset, or even ancestral assets. More you try to control the outcome of family and ancestral assets, the more lost or more at loss you would feel. Let go of anything fixed, let go of anything ancestral. Your introvert or reclusive side would have to be actively fought, as it's time to be more visible and more outward. No hiding, no morbid introspection of the psyche. It's just not the time for it. It's time to serve your outer purpose, your external purpose. And fated events will pull you out as soon as you try to go inward as well. Move away from religious or belief system discussions. When we're having discussions with others, try to convince others more through facts and data versus your belief or your opinion. We have to be very objective in our discussions as a leader. So it will be a key thing for you to keep in mind. Become the person people go for information, unbiased information, not opinion, information. It's a new phase in being a leader. Let yourself be seen. Go through visible positions. Accept a title which puts you out there. Independent positions, social visibility will come with this career shift, and it's time for that too. Creating your life's work is also a way to more self-respect. And from that place, you can offer more support selflessly and more strength to those who need you. And you can create footsteps for your next generations to follow into. Your efforts would give structure to not just help your career and your future, but you are in some way structuring and protecting the future of your future generations as well. You have to keep that in mind when you are balancing home, family versus career, because you're creating this solid foundation which is based on your past experience, which is based on your hard work, not just for yourself. These themes that are coming up, the do's and the don'ts, and the themes because of the eclipses, they're very consistent with the Saturn-Uranus square theme, which is also becoming exact on 14th of June. And it would work in parallel with these eclipses for the next 6 months. Uranus in your house of belief system is dramatically changing your life philosophy, setting you free from old belief system, from old goals and old purposes and old faiths and role models of life. And it's prompting you to seek unique approach to life, unique approach to knowledge, while Saturn is helping you create a new structure of work and health. It is prompting you to create healthy boundaries at work for balance and for sanity. I covered the detail of that aspect in your 2021 video. I'm not going to go deeper into it here. We'll keep this about the eclipses and about the Neptune aspect which is being made to this eclipse. If you want to go deeper into the Saturn-Uranus cycle, which has to deal with similar themes, but more about the actual structure of the work, the actual structure of the health, you can look at your 2021 video, which I'll link in the comments and in the description box. Lastly, I wanted to cover Neptune retrograde with you because Neptune is going retrograde end of June and it is making a hard aspect with this eclipse, and it will influence us in the coming next 6 months as well. Neptune is the pink elephant in the room. It has been slowly but steadily shifting your partnerships. This is about your relationships. This is about your committed relationships. This is about your partnerships, business and personal. Because of Neptune, which lowers our boundaries, being here since 2011, you have lowered your boundaries to others. Neptune dissolves our boundaries to others, but it also dissolves our old ways of relating to others on a one-on-one basis. You're going to feel this very strongly in June because the planet is going retrograde. But there will be some truths, because when our boundaries are lowered, sometimes they are unfairly encroached upon. So some truths about partnerships, relationships would also would come to surface, especially after the end of this month, after 25th of June. Neptune has been dissolving your old ways of relating to others on a one-on-one basis. It's adding to your charm, but it's also making you more vulnerable. Because the lessons of Neptune come through disillusion, come through disappointments in relationships, and through a walk in the fog of uncertainty. Because when it comes to others, you are probably not seeing things clearly, especially with loved ones, in one-on-one relationships with partners. Relationships feel like an ideal, which we somehow are not able to get to perfection. Unlike everything else, work seems that we can get it, but relationships feel elusive in some way. We even feel used in most of them. But through these events, you are being shown a different approach to partnerships. In that process of many bad lemons, you are also developing the ability to sort the good ones. And if you are honest with yourself, looking back since 2011 when this transit started, many spiritual relationships with a lot of selfless love have also developed. They have also come from that place of you lowering boundaries and letting people in. Yes, there have been a lot of cases where you have been used, abused, your goodwill has been misused in many cases, but at the same time, love from a lot of selfless spiritual relationships has also come through to you. It's a double-edged sword, but Neptune always, slowly but gently, dissolves something that is not real. And when it goes retrograde, it shows you something that has not been real. When a union is one-sided or not based on the ethereal love you crave, it slowly but steadily lets go. It holds true for both business and personal relationships. Union that is based on reciprocity, based on acceptance of other person's need, and a love that does not cling or swallow the other person is what Neptune is aiming for. But this craving for the ideal and the continuous feeling of disappointment could be a distraction that conflicts with this new start, this solar eclipse of new beginning in your career or external path. We are learning hard lessons of selfless love in the time when all our energy and attention should be directed to this major life change. Lessons of Neptune are always to develop within ourselves what we seek outside from others. That is always the lesson of Neptune. If we are seeking selfless love, it teaches us to develop that within us. The one-way street in love or sex or joint, financials or even business partnerships points to us finding a balance in not trying to be the savior of others. Don't try to save somebody. Doing something selflessly for somebody is very different from trying to be the savior of somebody. While helping others, we sort of develop something that gives us satisfaction as well. But you will have to do it without expectations of material gains from them. You're called upon to give a great deal or make sacrifices possibly for others. This is a lesson in selfless love, and it's making a life change within you, but you must be careful. Neptune has a higher purpose, which is to create this tender heart, this selfless love, teaching you selfless love, but you have to be careful of being taken for a ride or for being scapegoated. There is a fine line between authentic selfless love and tolerance and being treated badly by being given a doormat treatment by somebody, and our intuition is being sort of harnessed and sharpened to figure out where that line is being crossed. We are learning to separate the bad lemons from the good lemons, even though there are very few good lemons, but still. It's possible that no person can match your ideal or your yearning for a perfection that does not exist. But it's mostly to change how you love, how you connect, and to hone this sense within you of separating people who you can trust and the ones who are using you. It's adding further sensitivity, love, openness, glamour, and charity to your nature. but it would invariably attract people in need or people who need your counsel. There's a fine line you would need to thread and walk. The fine line of Neptune is always trying to adjust to the other person versus demanding the other person to adjust to you. Just remember, Neptune respects our need for acceptance, but not our need for approval. There is a big difference between needing somebody's acceptance versus needing someone's approval. Don't get scapegoated here or start seeing yourself from the eye of others. We have to really stay alert from that factor, because it can stop you in the track from taking the leap in your career. Because if you start seeing yourself in a negative light because of how somebody else sees you, it takes energy away from you, it takes confidence away from you, it takes zest away from you. It reduces you not just in your immunity but in your capacity to do things. Know that your boundaries are lower, treat carefully. There will be things that will come to surface towards the end of the month and in the coming weeks. The good thing, and it's part of Neptune benefit, is that we also receive people who give us selfless love. Look towards that. The other positive thing that's happening is, apart from Neptune bringing that benefit, is that Jupiter is now in your house of partnerships. Although it is a brief transit for now, it will fully come over there only in 2022. I covered that in the 2022 preview video for you. But you will see a little bit of benefit come through in June itself, when around 23rd of June, Sun and Jupiter are meeting. So there could be a hint of benefit in your house of partnerships, in your house of clients, in your house of support from others, which you might receive to some extent in June, around 23rd of June. We must not get dependent on this person or this partner or this contract, as the aim is still to develop within ourselves the capability to stand on our own merit. But it could be a nice change. It could be a nice change where for a change you are supported by somebody instead of you supporting the others. You would see more of that come through in 2022 when the opportunity of partnerships supporting you, house of partnerships adding support and opportunities of growth to you could come more in 2022. I covered that in your 2022 preview video. If you're interested in that, I'll leave the link in the details and in the description for you to review that. That's what I had for you, Virgo. Have a great season of eclipses and the next 6 months ahead. I'll see you in the next video now. Thank you.